Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're heading into the world of AI and law, tackling a challenge that's, well, pretty tough, getting computers to really understand legal language.
Yeah, it's definitely a field with a ton of potential, but also a lot of obstacles, right?
For sure.
I mean, legal documents, they're known for being super dense, lots of jargon, and those intricate sentences can trip up even, experienced lawyers.
Absolutely, which is where our star of the show comes in, RoFormer.
Oh, yeah.
This AI model is making some serious waves with its ability to analyze and understand those complex legal texts.
It's really building on the success of the transformer model, which, I mean, that was huge for natural language processing. But Reformer takes it even further.
So like Transformers, but even more powerful.
Exactly.
I like it. So tell us, what makes Reformer so special? What's the secret sauce?
Well, one of the key things is how Reformer handles position in language. You see, for us humans, word order is like intuitive. We instantly know that the cat sat on the mat is totally different from the mat sat on the cat.
Yeah, definitely different. Though I gotta say, a mat sitting on a cat, that's a funny image.
Right.
Maybe the cat's really comfy.
But the point is, computers, they don't have that same understanding of word order
Yeah.
and how it affects meaning. And even those super powerful transformers, they can sometimes struggle with that, especially when you get those super long, complicated sentences.
Okay, so how does Reformer solve that, the whole position code thing?
So it uses this really clever technique called rotary position embedding, or rope-E for short.
Ropey, catchy?
Imagine, like, words arranged on a spinning wheel.
Okay, I'm visualizing.
Each word's position is, like, determined by how far it's rotated. So Ropey uses this rotation to give each word its own, like, unique positional fingerprint.
I'm picturing a giant AI roulette wheel with words spinning around. So it's not just like knowing where a word is, but how its position affects its relationship with the other words.
Exactly. And this whole rotational encoding thing, it's based on something called sinusoidal functions. It's a math concept that allows Reformer to capture the subtle ways that word position changes meaning, especially in those long, winding sentences you find in, legal documents.
Sinusoidal functions, huh? You're really bringing the brain power today.
Well, it's fascinating how they've applied this math concept to AI.
Definitely. But does all this fancy math actually make a difference in the real world? Does Reformer actually perform better?
Oh, yeah. The results are pretty amazing.
Tell me more.
Reformer consistently outperforms, those older models, especially when dealing with those really long, intricate texts. It's almost like it can actually understand the legal jargon and those complex sentence structures in a way that other models couldn't.
That's incredible. So if AI can grasp legal language, what other complex fields could it totally revolutionize? This has implications way beyond just the courtroom, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about scientific papers, medical records, even historical documents. Imagine being able to accurately analyze and extract meaning from all those texts. It could unlock so much knowledge and insights.
Wow, that's like giving researchers a superpower. They could suddenly see connections that were hidden before, leading to new discoveries, big advancements in all kinds of fields.
And, we can't forget about the potential for making legal information easier for the average person to understand. Imagine having an AI assistant that can take those dense legal documents and, like, translate them into plain language.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right, empowering people to understand their rights, navigate all those complicated legal situations.
That would be a total game changer, giving everyone equal access to justice, leveling the playing field. But, I'm curious, beyond this positional encoding, are there any other tricks Reformer has up its sleeve that contribute to its success?
Yeah, there's one more key ingredient we should talk about.
Okay, lay it on me.
Linear attention.
Linear attention.
Yeah, it's a big part of what makes Reformer not just accurate, but also incredibly efficient.
Okay, linear attention. I'm all ears. Fill me in.
So think of it like this. Those traditional transformers, they're powerful, no doubt. But when it comes to processing, information, they can be a bit like those gas-guzzling cars, especially with those long, complicated sentences, the kind Reformer's so good at.
I see. So not very fuel efficient.
Yeah, their computational needs, they just skyrocket when the text gets longer.
So like running a marathon, but carrying a backpack full of rocks.
Exactly. And that's where linear attention comes in. It's like the streamlined, energy-efficient solution. It lets Reformer process everything much faster, even with those long texts, and without losing any accuracy.
So we swap those rocks for feathers. Much lighter, easier to handle.
Yeah, good analogy.
But how does it actually work, this efficiency boost?
It gets a bit technical, but basically linear attention, it changes how the AI looks at relationships between words. So instead of considering like all the possible connections, which takes a lot of computing power, it focuses on the most important ones.
So it's like skimming a document for the key points instead of reading every single word.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So it's not just about getting the meaning, but doing it quickly and efficiently too.
Like a super smart lawyer who can also speed read through stacks of documents.
Precisely. And that combo, the accuracy and efficiency, it's what makes RoFormer so exciting for, real world stuff. Imagine legal databases that can instantly give you relevant cases, or research tools that can go through tons of scientific papers and pick out the important findings.
It's like having your own personal research assistant, cutting through all the noise and giving you exactly what you need when you need it. That could change everything.
It really could. And as the technology gets, even better, we can expect even more uses to pop up. But one thing that's really interesting about RoFormer is how it learns from those longer pieces of text.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. What's so special about handling those longer texts?
Well, think about how we understand language as humans. We don't just process words or sentences, one by one. We build a whole mental model of the text, understanding how different parts fit together, getting the overall story or argument.
It's like reading a novel. You don't remember every single word, but you get the characters, the plot, the themes, how it all connects.
Exactly. And that's what RoFormer is getting better at doing with those longer texts. It can start to understand, the little details of a legal argument, the complexity of a scientific theory, the flow of a historical narrative, things that were really hard for AI to do before.
Fascinating. So it's not just about understanding words or sentences on their own, but getting the picture, the context, how ideas link together within a whole piece of writing.
Exactly. And that ability to understand, at a deeper level, a more contextual level, it opens up all these exciting possibilities for how we use AI with information.
I can already see students using RoFormer to help them understand those complicated academic papers, or researchers analyzing historical documents to find hidden patterns and connections.
Absolutely. It's all possible. But, like with any powerful technology, it's important to think about the impact of these advancements.
That's a good point. We've been focusing on the good stuff, what RoFormer can do. But are there any downsides or challenges we need to be aware of as this technology keeps getting more advanced? It's like that classic thing in sci-fi, the amazing breakthroughs always come with some kind of risk. So what should we be watching out for, especially as AI like RoFormer gets even smarter?
Well, one big challenge is making sure these models are used responsibly, like making sure they don't just keep repeating the biases that might already be in the data they learn from.
Right, that makes sense.
So for example, if you have an AI working with legal stuff, and it's mainly trained on cases with a certain outcome, it might start to favor that outcome in the future, even if it's not the fairest outcome.
So it's not just about making a really powerful AI, it's about being careful about what it learns from and making sure that data is balanced and fair, right?
Exactly. It's about being really careful and staying ahead of any potential biases, not just while it's learning, but, all the time as it comes across new information.
So it's a constant process of checking and refining just to make sure these AI tools are being used ethically. Okay, that makes sense. But, we've been talking a lot about the technical side of RoFormer. I'm curious about the bigger picture. How could these kinds of advancements change how we interact with information, in the future?
Well, imagine a world where anyone could easily access and understand complex information. Like legal documents could be automatically translated into plain language, scientific papers could be summarized with the key findings highlighted, and we could analyze historical texts for insights that were hidden before.
That's amazing. It would be like having a universal translator for all kinds of knowledge.
Right.
Everyone would have access to information, helping people make better decisions in, every part of their lives.
Exactly. And it could totally transform education, too. Students could understand tough concepts more easily, and researchers could explore new areas that were, too time-consuming or difficult to get into before.
So we're talking about a future where the barriers to knowledge are basically lowered, and the speed of discovery and, new ideas just accelerates like crazy.
That's the potential we're looking at. Of course, there will be bumps along the way, but the possibilities are incredibly exciting, right?
Totally.
And it all comes back to this basic ability to understand and process language, which is, at the heart of what makes us human.
That's a great way to put it. So as we wrap up our deep dive into RoFormer today, Here's something to think about. Imagine a world where AI helps us unlock the full potential of language, making knowledge more accessible, communication smoother, and understanding, deeper.
It's a future worth working towards, and with advancements like RoFormer leading the way, it feels closer than ever.
That's for sure. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive. See you next time.